To Minneapolis, Minnesota on a beautiful afternoon. It is 16 degrees and it's a perfect afternoon for baseball. Blue Jays looking to sweep the Minnesota Twins. The Jays have scored 7 runs in each of the first 2 games of this series. Aaron Sanchez, the winner on Monday night. Tyler Clippard won his 4th game against no losses here last night at Johns Gibbons Ball Club. Really continues to score late in the games as they did again last night. 17 and 12 for the Says, and Curtis Granderson will lead things off. Then Teoscar Hernandez. Justin Smoke in his last 7 games has picked it up dramatically, batting .346 during those 7 games. Kevin Pillar is on some hot streak, 6-game hit streak with 9 extra bases. His last 10 hits have been extra base hits. And he looks to tie the franchise record if he can come up with 1 more extra base hit.
Yeah, they're going to have to face somebody that they've never faced before. Fernando Romero replaces Phil Hughes in the starting rotation, comes up from AAA to make his big league debut. Ranked as the 2nd best prospect after being signed as an undrafted free agent back in 2011. He becomes the 6th different starter and 19th different pitcher for the Twins already this season. He's got a good fastball. Changeup is getting just a little bit better. Slider is coming along. Tell you what, he came out here early and was ready to go. He was out warming up before the umpires got out there because he wants to get out there for that big league first big league pitch.
Defensively, the Twins have made 17 errors. They've not had a good series in the field. Rosario, Kepler, and Grossman in the outfield. And at second base, the veteran Brian Dozier back at second base this afternoon.
Yeah, won a Gold Glove last year, his first, but this year hasn't been the same. He leads American League second baseman in errors with 4. He made an error here on Monday night, but he's a good one. We'll have to keep an eye on Brian this afternoon.
Curtis Granderson held hitless in this series so far. Curtis has walked 4 times in the 2 games. Here's the first pitch of the game. It's in there for a strike, and we are underway. As we mentioned, 16 degrees on a near perfect day here in Minneapolis. Granderson .288 on the season with 3 homers. Romero's got a big arm. He will throw a fastball in mid-upper 90s, a good slider. Just 23 years old. He's already undergone Tommy John surgery. Had that in 2014, missed all of the 2015 season.
Really opened up some eyes this spring. 8 hitless innings with 8 strikeouts. That was his 2nd look at big league camp. And he's got high-end stuff. That's the quote from his manager, Paul Molitor, high-end stuff. The question becomes, has he refined it enough to keep it in the strike zone? He can get a bit wild.
96 with that last strike. Romero showed up yesterday, his first day in the major leagues, dressed in a suit. Impressed the coaches and the manager. You know what? I applaud that. Young man has a right approach. You come to a ballpark for your first major league game. You go to the city, put a suit on, walk in the clubhouse with a big smile, say, man, I made it to the big leagues.
I'll tell you what, you will open up some eyes. That opened up the eyes of Paul Molitor, or the youngster, his first taste of the big leagues.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Granderson. He goes after that wicked slider. There's the first big league strikeout, and they will save that baseball as momentum. As a memento, as Molitor has the baseball, they're going to save it for the youngster. Curtis Granderson, pretty good guy to have in your book as your first strikeout.
He can clock it up there at 98 miles an hour. The changeup has come along this year. Molitor was also saying you have to be careful just because a guy's got electric stuff that he's going to come up here and start dealing. Pitching's a little bit harder than that.
Teoscar Hernandez had a hit in last night's game to extend his hit streak to 7 in a row. Just under 300. Well, Blue Jays getting their first look at Romero. Curtis Granderson with a little information for Hernandez, and then passes it along to Smoke.
Those arm signals right there, hand signals. Fastball's got a little sink to it.
Off the end of the bat.
Threw a couple of fastballs by Teoscar. They're a pretty good fastball hitting player. And now he's going to pass the word down to everybody else.
making sure he talks to all the hitters. Here's what you might see if you happen to get in there. Guy's got a good arm. 0-2 inside.
That says 98 with some movement. They were talking about he's got electric stuff, a big arm. He actually faced a Blue Jays organization one time. That was 2 years ago in A-ball.
Oh, what a nice play by Petit at shortstop. He takes a hit away from Teoscar Hernandez. Gregorio Petit playing in just his second game since coming up to the big leagues. Started at second last night. He's at short this afternoon.
It makes a dazzling play to help his pitcher. That's a slider that stayed over the middle of the plate. A little inconsistent right there with that slider, but he's bailed out by that great play by the shortstop.
So 2 away, Justin Smoke. Smoke for his last 7 games, batting .346. 9 for 26, couple of doubles, 2 home runs, and 6 ribbies. Smoke hit a 2-run home run in game 1 on Monday night in the 4th inning. He scored a big run in that same game, and then he had a big hit here in the 5th in last night's game. Tied up the game at 2-2. He gets jammed. That ball is a slow roller. That'll be the shortstop Petit making the play in front of Dozier. 3 up, 3 down. Fernando Romero has a big league inning under his belt with a strikeout. Fernando Romero, after a very good debut, struck out the first batter he faced in the big leagues, Curtis Granderson. Let's take a look at the lineup for Monitors Twins. Dozier, Bauer, and then Max Kepler. Kepler's had a good series. 2 doubles and a triple in game 1. RBI. He scored a couple of runs, and right behind him, Eduardo Escobar. He's got an 8-game hit streak, batting .375 over those 8 games with 6 doubles, 2 home runs, and 6 RBIs.
Blue Jays are going to send Marcus Stroman to the mound this afternoon for his 6th start of the season. He's slowly building back up to where he was last year. Remember, he missed some time in spring training. Last time out, he got beat by Texas, but he threw the farthest into a game this year. 5 1/3 innings against Texas, 6 earned runs through 91 pitches. He's slowly getting built back up, getting stronger. We've seen glimpses in some innings where he was his old self last year. That New York start reminds me of that, so hoping for better things this afternoon.
Dozier back in the lineup, goes after the first pitch and swings right through it. Dozier batting .245 on the season. He got the night off last night, and a chance to regroup a bit. There's a slider downstairs, a ball and a strike.
Yeah, Dozier came out yesterday and got some extra work in hitting wise, and then he actually pinch hit in the game yesterday. Hit a weak ground ball back to the pitcher.
2-1. Dozier batting .289 against the Blue Jays in his last 11 games. He's 3 for 9 against Marcus Stroman. High fly ball to center. Pilar at the track, at the wall. He's got room. Dozier flies out to center field, one away. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense. It's Granderson, Pilar, and Hernandez in the outfield. Up the middle, Gurriel's at second, teamed up with his fellow Cuban, Ledmus Diaz at short.
And he could be an interesting and important guy this afternoon, Ledmus Diaz. He's done a good job so far at shortstop, 9th in the American League in fielding percentage at .967, 3 errors and 214 innings played this year. And with Stroman, you always got that chance of a ground ball.
Here is Joe Mauer. Mauer's a DH this afternoon after playing first in the first 2 games. Strike one is important for any pitcher, but it's really important for Stroman because he has not had strike zone command at all this year. He's walked 25 guys.
Yeah, and that was always a strong point for him. If you can get ahead strike one, then you can start throwing the sinker and the slider and the changeup.
Stroman will flip to Smoke to retire Mauer. Good soft contact there. Stroman getting Mauer to tap one up the first baseline.
It's always important to watch Marcus early in the game, the kind of tempo he has, but then also the movement and where it is. I think there are at times early in this season where he has gotten on the side of the ball and hasn't been able to make the ball dance and move like he normally can.
So Max Kepler batting third. We mentioned he's 4 for 8 in this series. There's a ball downstairs for ball 1. Kepler hit just 100 against the Blue Jays last year. He's 2 for 20. He started 11 games in center field since Byron Buxton went on the DL on the 18th of April. And there's a good quality pitch. Fastball right at the knees for a strike.
Yeah, with movement too. You could see that from up here, that he got some good sink and some good movement on. You don't want side to side movement. You want some sink. You want that ball to go down.
I feel like if Marcus just has a few good innings under his belt, gets on a roll, that confidence will come back. And I don't care who you are, when you haven't had success, you lack confidence. Very good comeback fastball and a good inning for Marcus Stroman. He retires the side in order, run just 10 pitches. It's a ground ball, a fly ball, and a strikeout.
My Blue Jays members log into My Blue Jays and enter the code MBJ2048 to earn My Blue Jays points for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m. It was late in batting practice yesterday. On one of his last swings, Steve Pearce started feeling some pain in his rib cage. The Blue Jays have made him a late scratch as a precaution. Officially, left oblique tightness for Pearce. who is unlikely to even pinch hit today. Guys?
Yeah, they want to make sure that they don't aggravate that oblique and it morphs into something more significant. Now, there's Solarte. He's picked up 4 hits in this series so far. Had a 3-hit game on Monday night. Takes a pitch for a strike on the outside corner. Solarte for the season, 25 for 101. That's a 248 average.
Pretty decent production, 7 home runs. He did not hit his 7th home run last year till his 241st at bat. I asked him about that the other day. I said, what's up with all the home runs? He said, you know what? Smaller ballparks in the American League. San Diego, pitcher's ballpark.
Playing Los Angeles and San Francisco. Big ballparks, tough to hit it on. He's hit 6 home runs as a third baseman. Tied for second most in the American League. Jose Ramirez has 7. Solarte is tied with Matt Chapman of the A's with 6. A ball and 2 strikes. Fastball on the ground. Dozier at second base takes his time. 1 away.
First time through the lineup, Blue Jays are taking a look at young Fernando Romero. And he's already broken a couple of bats. I think if they can, this first time through, take as many pitches as possible, get a good read on his breaking ball and what his fastball is doing. Second time through, it might be a little bit easier.
You're working with the veteran catcher Jason Castro, who's catching for the first time in this series. Castro's been dealing with a sore knee, but he's back there to help the rookie through his debut. Pilar takes a pitch right down the middle for strike 1.
Kevin's had a good series. In fact, in his career, he's had big numbers against Minnesota. His on-base percentage in his career against the Twins is .360. Had some beautiful at-bats last night. A couple of doubles, one down the left field line, one to right center.
Kevin now has 8 doubles in his career against the Twins and a .291 average. Stays on that outside pitch. It's still 0-2. Pilar's done a terrific job early on in this season to hit the ball from foul line to foul line, literally. And you can see what he's done in the series. 3 doubles in this series. His last 10 hits have all gone for extra bases. And that's going to snap that streak right there. His first hit of the game will extend his hit streak to 7 straight, but that'll snap his streak at 10 straight extra base hits. That'll fall 1 shy of Jose Cruz Jr. for the franchise lead.
That's a nice thing to have, but he'll also take this. That is a tough slider. And he said some really interesting things the other day to our Rash Madani about hitting with 2 strikes, about slowing the heart rate down and having confidence up there, treating it like any other pitch. It works. There's another 2-strike hit for him.
So Pilar's streak now at 7. Russ Martin. He did not play in last night's game. Martin homered here on Monday night. For Russell, his 3rd home run of the season. It was a leadoff home run in the 5th inning off of Lance Lynn. Still trying to get it going at the plate, but there have been glimpses lately that the bat's coming around. He's lined out sharply a couple of times. Kepler took a hit away from him here.
You mentioned the home run. That was on a 3-0 count. And then the P, he hit the center field with runners on base. I think that's what you have to do. You have to start putting together good at-bats. Little by little, you start seeing the ball, hitting it squarely. The line drive percentage starts to go up. The hits will then start to fall.
Taking another pitch. It's a ball and a strike. Martin, like the rest of his teammates so far, wanting to get a look at Romero, see what they're dealing with. He's just 23 years old, and in talking with Eddie Guardado, the bullpen coach, he said he's got a lot of confidence and he's not going to be intimidated by big league hitters. Off the glove. Pilar thought about it, but holds his ground. Castro got on it quickly.
The Twins have had problems just catching the ball behind the plate this series. Mitch Garver missed a couple of balls in yesterday's game. Now this fastball right off the glove of Castro, and he's fortunate enough that Pilar, he had thoughts of maybe moving up. But Castro got on the ball very quickly. It didn't get that far.
2-1. Now it's 2-2. Another good fastball. 95. Garver had a pass ball in game 1 that allowed Curtis Granderson to score from third. There have been several wild pitches in this game. Balls have gotten away from the catcher. 2 balls and 2 strikes on the Blue Jays catcher.
If you're thinking about stealing, he looks like he's going to be tough to run on because he's got that slide step towards home plate. Not a very high leg kick. They might elect to start the runner right here just to stay out of the double play.
3-2, 1 out. There goes Pilar. Ball 4 outside. So that'll bring Kendrys Morales to the play. Boy, did he have a big night last night. He was on base 5 times.
Not bad for a guy who originally wasn't even in the starting lineup. This is his first home run of the night. That was off of Kyle Gibson. Then an inning later, Ryan Presley, another fastball. And he can hit anybody's fastball. That one right into the second row in right field. Good night for Morales. He can turn around that fastball. And you've got a guy who likes to throw his fastball. Should be a good recipe for success.
There's a fastball upstairs for a ball. 97 miles an hour. Morales singled through the left side of the infield in his first at bat in last night's game. That snapped an 0 for 21 streak. That was tied for the longest 0 for in his career, dating back to 2004. He reached base 5 times safely for the 6th time in his career. He was given 2 intentional passes in the 8th and in the 10th.
You know, that's another thing that's been impressive with the Jays so far this year is their patience at the plate. You've got a lot of guys, and I think it all starts with Curtis Granderson in that leadoff spot, taking a lot of pitches, working over that pitcher. Russell Martin has been the same way. He worked a walk, very selective at the plate, getting a good pitch to hit.
Pulled foul wide of first. Well, Russell now has 13 walks. He leads the American League catchers in walks. He's getting on base, and it really speaks volumes because he's hitting 150. And you might think he'd want to chase some hits, but he's not done that. He's not swinging the bat the way he would like to, but he's still getting on base.
And he's still staying within his game plan, and that is to work the count. And when he gets a good pitch to hit, he'll start coming around, start hitting it hard.
Put that slider in there to even the count of 2-2. So Pilar's at second. He singled at 1 out. Martin took a walk. He's at first.
Scouting report on Romero also in these situations here. He's got a lot of confidence in his changeup. His manager thinks it's going to be a swing and miss pitch for him.
That'll always get you out of trouble, a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. But Morales is a terrific fastball hitter. The guys he's really had a lot of trouble with are the guys that have good breaking ball, hard breaking ball.
Guys who can spin the baseball. Doesn't really look like Romero can spin it as consistently as you need to, but he's got an electric arm.
There's a breaking ball for a strikeout. Second strikeout of the ball game. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball.
Watch the slider, how it stays in the zone a long time. Morales just pulled off of that one. ever so slightly, but a slider, you'd like to see it in the strike zone and then out, but it stayed in there a long time.
Curtis Gurriel Jr. ducks away from a fastball up and in. Gurriel had a couple of hits in game one, a couple of infield hits, and that looked like a slider that just got away from Romero. Gurriel was batting 6th in the lineup last time, went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Ground ball to the shortstop. Petit flips to Dozier, and that'll end the inning. The Blue Jays get a 1-out single and a walk, but they strand a pair. We'll go to the bottom of the second. No score in Minneapolis.
Three up, 3 down for the first time this season. Now Stroman's struggles early this year have been evident, with the ERA just shy of 9 and seemingly having the one bad inning every start. And Russell Martin and John Gibbons, when you visit with them, they say it comes down to command. Martin says, look, it's pitch execution and just focusing on command more than anything else. And both the catcher and manager also feel this may be a bit of a mental obstacle too with Stroman. But because he hasn't really struggled in his career, it may be getting to him. Gibbons said, look, he's a good athlete, he'll adjust, it's just a matter of time. Martin was more direct too. Russ said, I'm sure he'll dial it in moving forward, and added, quote, I have tremendous confidence in Stroman. Guys?
Yeah, and obviously he's got a lot of support of his manager and his teammate. And Russell Martin, for the last couple of starts, has tried to encourage him to be more aggressive, throw more strikes, trust your stuff, throw it down the middle, get ahead. And that's what's worked for him in the past, and I'm sure it's going to work for him in the future. So Russell is trying to encourage Marcus just to shoot for a bigger part of the plate. But I'll tell you, as a former catcher, here's what I think goes on from time to time. Marcus was not 100% healthy coming out of the spring, just because he didn't have a full spring of games. So when you have some doubts about the quality of your stuff, you're going to pitch defensively early on, and I think that's what happened.
I thought his start in New York, he looked like the same old Marcus, getting a lot of ground ball outs. He had 3 in the first inning, 3 more in the second inning. He had a strikeout and a ground out and a fly out in the third inning, and then things blew up on him a little bit in the 6th. But that early part, he was very strong, and he got great movement on all of his pitches.
Eduardo Escobar, he's riding an 8-game hit streak, batting .375 over those 8 games. It's a high fly ball. Pilar calls for it. He's got room just in front of the 403 sign and makes the catch. 1 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Nomar Mazara has hit a home run off of Corey Kluber. So it is now 4-1, as Jamie mentioned. Corey Kluber, boy, what a terrific start he's off to this season. What's new?
I don't like to say this, but is that game over already? He's got a 4-run lead.
There's a deep drive to left center. Pilar's on the run. He's not going to get this one. It's gone. Eddie Rosario with another home run number 5. An opposite field shot into the bullpen. Rosario homered in last night's game, a 2-run shot in the 6th.
That's just his second home run this year before the 6th inning. And he's been doing a lot of damage late. He's a free swinger. He's got some power. Normally powers the ball to right field. That time got behind it and drove it the other way. Sinker that stayed out over the middle of the plate. And Rosario lets it go. Rosario, you can see he's got those great hand-eye coordination. It's a quick swing.
Rosario, he doesn't get cheated at the plate, that's for sure. I mentioned he had a 2-run home run last night off of Marco Estrada. That one went deep to right. It gives the Twins a 1-0 lead. Robbie Grossman, the right fielder, behind 0-2. That's upstairs for a ball. The home run is just the fourth surrendered by Stroman this season. Breaking ball, another high fly ball. This one not deep. Pilar, the center fielder, waits on and makes the catch, 2 away. So with 2 outs, Logan Morrison, the first baseman here this afternoon. Morrison starting at first base for the 7th time this season.
Giving Joe Mauer a little bit of a break. Joe is TH this afternoon.
Morrison traditionally has been a slow starter. He got off to another slow start this season. Batting .068 his first 44 at bats, 3 for 44 over his first 12 games. Dug a hole for himself. Slider pulled on the ground. Smoke will wave off Stroman, step on the bag, and the inning is over. But Minnesota takes a 1-0 lead. Eddie Rosario with his 2nd home run of the series, his 5th of the season, goes opposite field to give the Twins a 1-0 lead.
Yes, LeBron and the Cavs came back to win it in overtime. Yes, Van Vliet missed the open 3 at the buzzer. But game 2 tomorrow. Note the start time, 6 o'clock Eastern on Sportsnet 1. But Cleveland did not lead once in regulation, and they stole game 1 at the ACC last night.
Well, they've got a pedigree, that's for sure. As Diaz goes after the first pitch, be a special day tomorrow. Blue Jays will play the Cleveland Indians in a doubleheader, while the Raptors and the Cavs will play game 2. Litmus Diaz went after that first pitch and popped it foul into the seats. Diaz batting 184. He has a hit in each of his last 2 games for a 2 for 9 in this series. Diaz, Granderson, and Teoscar Hernandez. Romero's got easy heat. Nice and easy delivery. You know, this is something we see quite often with players that have had Tommy John surgery. They iron out their mechanics and learn how to really utilize the mechanics properly.
Get it out of the way early. That looked like a changeup right there. Maybe the most anticipated major league start for a Twins pitcher since Jose Barrios a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, Barrios and Romero, boy, they could make a pretty dynamic 1-2 punch if they both pitch up to their capabilities.
They've got those loose arms. You've heard that for years, loose arms. And all that means is they get the ball, and it doesn't look like there's any effort in throwing a baseball. He's not real tall. He's only listed at 6 feet tall, but he's got big legs, big shoulders.
Slider down and away. Full count to Diaz, the leadoff man here in the third. Curtis Granderson will follow. Curtis struck out. First major league strikeout for the starter, Fernando Romero. I mean, he can reach back and hit the upper 90s almost at will.
Yeah, free and easy. And you know what's important too is it's a lot of movement on that fastball. You saw Curtis Granderson talking about that when he was giving the quick scouting report to his teammates after that first at bat.
Pulls that fastball down and away. A leadoff walk, second walk of the ball game. Let's check in again with Jamie Campbell. Danny Duffy on the mound for the Royals, and don't give up on the Red Sox. They have Mookie Betts back in the lineup again, and Pomeranz just trying to get his feet on the ground. He's off to a rough start. Granderson takes a strike. Curtis struck out on a slider his first time up. One of 2 strikeouts Romero has recorded this afternoon.
He just created a mistake. After your team gives you the lead, you don't walk the leadoff batter, the number 9 hitter. Turn that lineup over. See if the Blue Jays can take advantage of it.
Upstairs, 2-1 now. Strike 2. Minnesota with a 1-0 lead thanks to a opposite field home run by Eddie Rosario, their left fielder. Patterson's late on that fastball. .25 home runs against the Twins. That's a career high. He's also hit 25 home runs against the Orioles. Most home runs he's had against one team. Goes after that pitch again and strikes out for a second time. That's the slider that gets him.
Same pitch, same location as his first at bat to lead off the game. Got the count to 2-2, and he's going to drop the slider, and he just can't hold up. Can't lay off of it enough. See, that one had a little bit more depth than the one that he got Morales on.
Teoscar Hernandez lined out to the shortstop his first time up. He hit a breaking ball on the line to short. Romero made 3 starts at AAA Rochester. He appeared in a 4th game out of the bullpen, total of 21 innings. And an 0-1 record with a 257 earned run average. Bill Cuzzy down at first rings up Hernandez for the swing.
Well, the Twins had to do something since April the 20th, and they got off to a pretty decent start, but since April 20th, they've had the worst earned run average in baseball. Phil Hughes was this starter here, but Paul Molitor and the Twins have moved him into the bullpen, saying we got to get this guy going and put him in certain situations. Let's call up one of our best prospects. See if he can turn it around just a little bit for our staff.
Well, you bring up young players, and if they can hold their own, they bring enthusiasm, they bring excitement, and the quality arm you can see on the mound yourself. So if he goes with Jose Barrios and they get Santana back maybe within a month, things can turn around. Nobody's running away with the Central, that's for sure.
No, maybe you get Lance Lynn turned around. He didn't have any spring training. I mean, they've got the makings, I think, of a pitching staff that should be pitching better than the numbers that they're producing so far.
And the Twins won't say it, they won't talk about it, but they've been really abused by the weather.
Yeah.
They lost 3 straight games in a series here in Minnesota before they went to Puerto Rico, and then they had 2 games in 4 days in Puerto Rico. Outside. 3-1 to Hernandez. Smoke is on deck. Blue Jays left a couple on in the 2nd inning. Paul Molitor would never ever talk about weather being a problem. They're not playing well. We all have seen that in the 3 games. Cut on and missed.
And he's not one to make excuses. It's just we need to get out there. We need to play better. And it's a good team. Just haven't hit their stride yet.
Full count, 1 out. Diaz at first with the leadoff walk. Granderson struck out. Now Hernandez with a full count. There goes the runner. Fouled out of play. We talk about the bad weather. When the Blue Jays were in Cleveland, they lost their 2 games. They lost 3 games here in Minnesota, and you can see why. It's a time lapse of the weather they were dealing with, hopeful of getting a game in. A couple of times they came out and started to clear off the field, and then they just felt it was hopeless. But it was a winter wonderland, and certainly not a place you want to play baseball.
And it's tough when you go through spring training. You play every day, you crank it up, you get the season started. Then you basically sit around for 3 days and don't do anything. Don't come out on the field. Tough to crank it back up.
Runner going again. The appeal. Now they stop the runner and they call him for a swing, and it's a double play. It was a check swing. The home plate umpire appealed the swing. Dan Bellino appealed to Phil Cuzzy. And now John Gibbons has given the home plate umpire the gears, and he threw Gibbons out of the game. Man, oh man, that's a quick trigger for Dan Bellino to throw John Gibbons out of the ball game. But Gibbons is saying, hey man, make a call. Got my guy hung up between first and second, and Gibby's been ejected by the home plate umpire. It was a check swing by Hernandez. The runner was on the move, and John Gibbons has been ejected. The inning is over. We'll talk about it more when we return to Minnesota. The Twins have a 1-0 lead early. time this season. It was a check swing by Hernandez. They appealed the call down to first. The home plate umpire, Dan Bellino, did not make a call. Diaz was running on the play. He thought it was ball 4. He's tagged out by the second baseman. And then the umpire, Dan Bellino, throws out John Gibbons. There wasn't much of an argument before Gibby was thrown out. He was still in the dugout at the top step of the dugout. So DeMarlo Hale will take over the reins as the manager for the rest of the afternoon. Ground ball past Solarte. Gregorio Petit, just a little ground ball. Solarte didn't move very well to his left, and it got under his glove for a base hit.
Yeah, he was playing about even with the bag also, because Gregorio Petit will show that he will bunt, and that came back to bite him. Just out of his reach at third base. If he's playing back at his normal position, he makes that play easily.
Leadoff single, second hit of the ball game for Minnesota. Number 9 hitter is Jason Castro. Castro is making his 17th start behind the plate, batting just .161. He is 9 for 56. He's got a home run.
He's been dealing with some knee problems. That's why we haven't seen him for a couple of days. He's been striking out a lot more than I've seen in the past.
Here goes the runner. Martin's throw is high and a little bit late. Petit picks up a stolen base. Boy, Castro didn't even offer at it, but it was a hit and run break in my mind. It didn't look like a straight steal.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That looked like somebody missed a sign. It looked like a hit and run from Petit. Watch him take off. He's looking in, and all of a sudden he doesn't protect him by swinging at it. And the Twins catch a break because the throw is high. That's a hit and run break right there. He's taking a look to see where the ball is, and they catch a break on the throw down to second base, and he picks up his first stolen base.
High throw from Martin, but it certainly was a hit and run. To me, the batter missed the sign because he didn't even react. He just stood there like, okay, ball 1. But now it's 3-0 to Castro after the single and stolen base. Four balls. So the first walk issued comes here in the 3rd inning by Stroman. So a single and a walk back to the top of the order. 2 on, nobody out. Marcus surrendered a home run to Eddie Rosario in the 2nd. That's the 26th earned run he has allowed this season, second only to Kendall Graveman of the A's, who is now pitching in the minor leagues. But Stroman missed 4 pitches to Castro to walk him.
Yeah, turn the lineup over and be careful with Dozier early in the count here. He just missed one his last time up, flying out deep to center field.
Dozier had a 17-game hit streak to start the season that has since ended. He is 0 for 7 in this series, including a pinch hit at bat last night.
Might be one of the streakiest hitters in the American League, because when he gets hot, nobody gets him out. And when he doesn't, he was saying the other day, hey, I'm not helping this out much. I'll tell you, when he gets hot, he can hit home runs in bunches.
He has been pretty much a real good second half hitter. He has gotten off to slow starts in the past, but really turned it on in the second half. His average at 243. There's a strike. The Blue Jays need Marcus Stroman to get back on track. He has obviously been a very good pitcher. Back-to-back 200 innings seasons, 16 and 17. Dozier fouls it back.
Yeah, even in these types of situations right here, He'll give up his share of base runners. He is always able to find his way out of it because he has that ground ball. Always got his share of ground ball double plays.
This season, it's been a little bit of a different story for Marcus. He's not been able to rack up the double plays as frequently as we've seen in the past. There's a good breaking ball for a strikeout. Second strikeout of the ball game for Stroman.
Put that one in a good spot. Everybody knows Brian Dozier's a great fastball hitter. And Stroman's got a good breaking ball. Watch where this one is, down and away. Those types of pitches, you got to really use your legs to go down and get it. But Dozier's pulling off the ball just a little bit. That's a big out.
Now Joe Mauer, that'll bring Mauer to the plate, and a potential inning-ending double play possibility. Runners at first and second, one out. With Mauer, the outfield always shifts around to the opposite field. He's never been one to pull the ball very much, and they give him all sorts of room down the right field line.
You and I were talking to Tim Leeper, the outfield coach here for the Blue Jays, and in right field, Teoscar Hernandez, they want to take that gap away in right center field. They don't feel like the Twins batters, especially the lefties, pull a lot of balls down into the corner in right field, so they want to position Hernandez a little bit more in that gap. It's a big gap in right center field. Big power alley, so they want to take that away.
Bauer takes strike two. Petit with a leadoff single, then he stole second. Castro walked. Stroman then struck out Dozier. And now he's ahead of Mauer.
This is where Mauer really cuts down his swing with two strikes. Just tries to play pepper with the outfield in left field.
That's a base hit. Right at Teoscar. They're going to stop the runner. Petit came around with a full head of steam, but Gene Glynn, third base coach, threw up the stop sign. I mean, you couldn't position Teoscar any more perfectly. That's exactly where Mauer hit it, but it was in front of the right fielder for a base hit.
And that's why they wanted to take away that right field gap. Again, they don't feel like the Twins hitters pull a lot of balls to right field, so they'll take away that gap, and it worked out for them. That ball was right at Hernandez, and he came in and helped and kept them at the bases loaded.
Marcus has had all kinds of trouble with runners on. Just 208 with nobody on, but when he gets base runners on, they're hitting nearly 400 against him. He needs a double play now. Ground ball, that's not going to be a double play ball, and a run's going to come in. Kepler dribbles one up the first baseline as Petit comes in to score the second run for Minnesota, and it's 2-0. They got the ground ball, but Kepler didn't hit it hard enough to turn two.
And you got to play your infield back early in the ball game, and a good hitter, a cleanup hitter, coming up. So you had to play your infield back. Couldn't turn double play there.
Eduardo Escobar. Way inside for ball one. Escobar flying out to center field his first time up. Minnesota with a 2-0 lead. Slider for a strike. Little flare that's going to be caught by Diaz, and the inning is over, but Minnesota scores another run. One run on 2 hits and 2 men left. We'll go to the fourth. The Twins have a 2-0 lead.
TV. Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, and you can watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. And if you're watching the St. Louis Cardinals, there has been a shakeup. Greg Holland out as their closer. Bud Norris, Buck, is in.
Yeah, Holland's another guy that signed very late, never really got into shape, and he's not in shape to close right now, so they obviously made the right move. And if you had MLB.com TV, you could be watching the Indians put a hurting on Matt Moore. 2 innings, 9 hits, 9 earned runs, and 2 home runs to Edwin Encarnacion. It's 9-2, and they're in the top of the third.
Okay, is it over now? Corey Kluber's got a 7-run lead.
Yeah, it's over now.
Wow.
Justin Smoke takes a breaking ball for a strike, 1-1. Interesting to watch this youngster, 23 years old, making his major league debut, and he's throwing to a veteran, Jason Castro. He's mixed his pitches very effectively. I'm sure there was the conversation with the pitching coach as they went over this game plan. Hey, follow your catcher, let him lead you through this game, and don't get too creative.
He's a confident guy. That's what everybody was telling us, and you can see it in the way he's on the mound now with the lead. Very confident in himself and in his ability.
Ripped into right field, right through the shift as Smoke gets a 3-1 pitch and drills it in direct. We mentioned Romero making his major league debut. He's 23 years old. He's pitched in the minor leagues. He had Tommy John surgery in 2014, missed all of the 15 season, but he's had impressive numbers. The ERA over 73 games, under 3, and the opponents have hit just .230 against Romero.
Big arm. Got an undrafted free agent signed in 2011. Actually faced the Dunedin Blue Jays when he was with Fort Myers. Richard Urania played in that game. Danny Jansen played in that game, and finished it. Carlos Ramirez finished it out for the Jays.
Little pop up. Petit goes all the way out in the left field. Rosario broke back as he thought that ball was deep. He wasn't going to get there. Should it be beyond Petit's range? But Petit went out to left field and make the catch off the bat of Solarte.
Was in Double-A last year, and was the pitcher of the year for him down there. Opened up some more eyes in spring training this year. Got sent down to Triple-A. Had some decent numbers in Triple-A, and now they definitely have a need for one of their starters. Why not bring him up? Maybe he can sparked this team.
Kevin Pillar got the first big league hit off of Romero. It came with 1 out in the second. Pillar's hit streak now stands at 7. Check swing, a little roller foul. Kevin singled, and that snapped a streak of 10 straight extra base hits. He is tied with Adam Lind for the second most consecutive extra base hits in franchise history. Jose Cruz Jr. had 11 straight extra base hits in 2000.
He now has over 2,000 major league at-bats, and when you talk to him now about the game of baseball, hitting, I mean, he's very aware of things that are going on around him. Who's up, who's on deck, who's on base, the pitcher, the count, everything. So his experience is really starting to show.
How about that base hit? Pitch was down and away, and he just slapped it past Dozier into right field. Kevin Pillar is 2 for 2, and his average continues to climb. He's up to 327.
Well, whatever you're doing, whatever you're thinking, just keep doing it. Again, a pretty decent pitch from Romero. Remember the last time it was a slider down and away, and he was able to hook it into left field. This time fastball down and away, stays right with it. Squirts it through on the right side. Another multi-hit game for Pillar.
Kevin Pillar is starting to appear on the leaderboard in the American League offensive categories. Pillar now with 36 hits. He is tied for the lead in doubles with 12.
Tied with Escobar, the shortstop, or excuse me, third baseman today for the Twins.
Russell Martin outside. It's a ball and a strike on the Jays catcher. There are 3 hitters in the American League that have 12 doubles. We got Andujar of the Yankees, Pillar and Escobar, both in this ball game. Mookie Betts has 11. There's a strike. Logan Morrison broke in behind Pillar at first. He thought there was a pickoff play on, and now Dozier wants to talk to Castro because they were out of position on that last play.
And somebody missed a sign again. You know, the prior pitch, Pillar was getting way off there, and Morrison got the attention of Castro. Looked like he put a pickoff play on at first base.
And Dozier picked up on it and said, hey, man, we got to get things straightened out here. They have not had a good series in the field
Not
at all.
defensively. They tried to make something happen there, and they got a big lead over there at first base. That is big. That's actually smaller than the lead he had the prior pitch. But Morrison picked up on it.
Upstairs with the fastball. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Russell Martin. Blue Jays need a base hit. They trail 2-0 here in the 4th. Smoke single. Solarte popped out the shortstop, and Pillar singled. Breaking ball down and away. You wouldn't expect the Blue Jays to be running it with Morales on deck. 3-2, 1 out. Smoke.
It's not
blessed with great speed at second.
It's not the right combination. Yesterday, they were just trying to be aggressive to get that extra run when they had the double steal. They were trying to be aggressive and ran into the final out last inning. I don't think they're going to be running here.
Martin protects that outside corner. The Blue Jays have loved this place to hit home runs. They've hit 50 home runs in 30 previous games here at Target Field. Russell Martin had a homer in game 1 on Monday night. Little chopper up the third base line. That's going to be a tough play for the pitcher. He makes it in time. Good concentration by the rookie Romero to throw out Martin.
Yeah, no panic right there. And he did the right thing by picking it up with his bare hand. I think if he goes with his glove, by the time he would have transferred, Crow hopped, and then made the throw, Russell would have beaten it out. Right off the plate, and it's going to die in the grass. Romero bare hands it and fires and gets him by half a step. No time to pick it up with your glove.
Now this is interesting now. They send the catcher out to talk. Pitching coach Garver Alston came to the top step, got Castro's attention, says, I want you to go out here and talk to the pitcher about having a base open here. I don't want to walk him intentionally, but if he's going to chase a breaking ball, throw him some low breaking balls, see if he'll chase.
They did that yesterday twice. He hit 2 home runs and then they walked him twice intentionally his next 2 times up. That's 2 mound visits this inning. I'll tell you what, a young pitcher and you're asking him to pitch around a veteran, don't make a mistake.
Yeah, and I think what they have to do is make sure that you throw breaking balls, and ideally they want to throw breaking balls, strike to ball breaking balls that are down low. See if Morales will chase.
Kendry struck out last time. Remember, we showed the replay of that slider. It stayed right in the middle of that strike box.
That's where they want that pitch to Morales. And see if they can get him to chase. Take advantage of his aggressiveness in this situation where he can tie it up with one swing of the bat. Base hit, they tie it up. Hit one out of the ballpark, they take the lead. Ooh, he got away with one. Boy, they tried to sneak a fastball by him, and they did. They elevated that fastball.
You know, Paul Molitor is making a note of that if this situation comes back up in the middle of the game or later in the game. That fastball was right there. I don't know how he missed it. He might write a note to himself, hey, let's walk the guy if first base is open.
Especially with a young pitcher. This has got to be a breaking ball, doesn't it?
It has to be. It has to be a slider.
Well, Castro, he gave a sign, and then the pitcher started into his set position.
His changeup is better than a slider at this point of his career for the young pitcher. So he might want to throw a changeup here. Castro might be thinking slider, or vice versa.
Looks like they're going to throw him a fastball.
Yeah, step off, rethink it. If you don't have conviction as a pitcher and there's some kind of self-doubt, go through the signs again.
That slider in the dirt there, and that does the trick. Morales chases a low one. Blue Jays strand a pair in scoring position. Get 2 hits, don't score a run. they've done it without all 5 of these pitchers really throwing up to their capabilities. Happ and Sanchez are throwing the ball okay. Garcia is trying to, and Stroman certainly aren't where they would normally be. They have not really found their groove and haven't gotten into a real good rhythm just yet.
The season started, this was the strength of the team, and Sanchez and Happ seem to have gotten off to a good start. The other guys, there are times that they throw well, but the consistency just hasn't been there yet for the Jays. Once they get all of them firing and they get them in a good shape and they can go deeper into the games, I mean, when you've got a staff like that, you can rip off 7, 8 wins in a row.
Eddie Rosario. Ball on a strike. Rosario hit an opposite field, the home run in the second. Got a fastball and hit it into the Blue Jays bullpen in left center.
His numbers are pretty much identical at this time of the season, 25 games, as they were last year. He finished last year with 27 home runs and 78 runs driven in, chipped in, with 9 stolen bases. And you look at his numbers through the first 25 games, they're almost identical. So no panic again for Minnesota. I think this guy's going to hit.
Pops that one over the dugout, out of play. Rosario with 55 home runs since 2015. That's third on the Twins behind Dozier and Sano. Sano's on the DL. Dozier has gone through a long homerless drought.
He's a free swing. Sees about 3 pitches per at bat. You don't get a lot of information on 3 pitches. But he's not there to get information. He's there to swing it.
Got that ball inside, and he grounds out to Smoke. One away.
The 2018 Civic. When it leads off, it leads for good. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Been great 3 days of weather here in Minnesota. Blue Jays will go to Cleveland after this game for the doubleheader tomorrow. The good news about the doubleheader tomorrow, Corey Kluber's pitching today.
Scheduled for Cleveland, Carlos Carrasco and a young kid. For the Blue Jays, Jaime Garcia. And undecided, but word is it could be Joe Biagini.
Biagini made a similar start in the doubleheader against Kansas City earlier this season. Robbie Grossman strikes out very quickly. That's the 3rd strikeout for Stroman. Slider down and in, put it in a good spot, and gets a wild swing from Grossman.
That's always a good sign when you start to see batters swing like that at Stroman's slider. That means he's got some bite to it. Good pitch.
2 outs. Logan Morrison. No swing on the appeal down to Adrian Johnson, who's at 3rd base this afternoon. Morrison tapped out to the first baseman to end the 2nd. That's a good fastball down and in. They're not picking it up. You see him swing over the top of it. One and two now.
Gurriel, I've been watching him, and for a young player, he's advanced defensively. Left-handed hitters swing, and he's always moving. You know, he fouls that ball to the right. He's always taking a step to his left or a step to his right. I think that's why he's such a good fielder. He gets a great jump on the ball.
Upstairs. He is very active for sure. He's always keeping his legs loose, and then when the ball gets into the hitting zone, he is set, ready to go left or right.
when a batter swings, especially a left-handed batter like this, and he pulls the ball, he's moving. He's moving while he's swinging. Can't get that one, though.
Morrison rips it past Gurriel into right field. His first hit of the afternoon. The 4th hit for the Twins.
But it's great to see a young player, instead of getting into position and the guy swings it and he just stands up, he's actually moving. He's actually leaning to where he's anticipating that ball being hit, and that helps him get a great jump.
They didn't have a chance on that base hit by Morrison, a 2-out single to right. Gregorio Petit takes the first pitch strike. He singled, stole the base, and scored the second Twins run in the 3rd inning. 2-0 Minnesota. The stolen base appeared to be a botched hit and run, as he had a very late break from first. Batter Jason Castro took an outside pitch, and the throw was not in time at second.
Twins are not really a team that steals a lot of bases. They've got some guys who can run, like Dozier, but they're not really stolen base threats.
That's the 11th steal for Minnesota this season. They've been caught 3 times. They couldn't run like Molitor. What a player, obviously Hall of Famer, great player, multi-dimensional offensive player. Chopped foul. Blue Jays have won the series, and they'd like to sweep the Twins here. Tough doubleheader tomorrow. It's a tough doubleheader anytime you play a doubleheader, but when you play Cleveland in Cleveland. Edwin Encarnacion, 2 home runs today. He's driven in 5.
They've got 10 on the board through 4 innings.
Off the end of the bat, Diaz will step on the bag, and that'll end the inning. Stroman gives up a 2-out single and nothing more. We'll go to the 5th. The Twins have a 2-0 lead. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast.
Seattle and Boston come to town in the middle of the month, and then after a quick road trip, Oakland and the Angels will be at Rogers Center. BlueJays.com for tickets, and the Blue Jays will avoid Dustin Pedroia. Bucky hopes to return to the Red Sox May 25th.
Yeah, coming back from a very serious knee surgery in the offseason. They get him back into playing shape. He's been very patient and very deliberate in his rehab. Minnesota leads at 2-0. We head to the top of the 5th. Lourdes Gurriel takes one inside for ball 1. Gurriel 0 for 1. He hit into a fielder's choice in the second. Ground ball hit sharply, backhanded by Petit. Long throw in time. One away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Mookie Betts home run number 9, J.D. Martinez number 6, and it's just a matter of time before they would get to Kansas City. Danny Duffy still in the ball game. There's a drive that's going to get down and go past Rosario all the way to the wall. Diaz is headed for second. Here's the throw. He slides in safely with a 1-out double. Diaz, 7 of his 17 hits have gone for extra bases for Diaz. That's his 3rd double of the season. It comes with 1 out here in the 5th.
Fastball. They wanted it down and away, and that's right where Ledmus likes it. Up and in. Don't wait around for anything. When you see that one straight and it's coming in like that, let it go. Rosario did a pretty decent job that time of flagging it down. He's got a good arm in the outfield. Tried to make the play at second base, but Diaz makes it a double.
First pitch strike to Granderson. He has always taken that first pitch. He has yet to swing at the first pitch this season. Blue Jays need to cash in on this leadoff double, 1-out double. Blue Jays have stranded 4 so far. Now Granderson's behind 0-2.
10 left on yesterday, 10 left on the day before. And you keep guys hanging around like that, pretty soon they're going to break through.
Blue Jays are 0 for 4. DeMarlo Hale is running the ball club as John Gibbons was ejected for the first time this season. He was ejected on a check swing call. Teoscar Hernandez checked his swing, and on the play, Ledmus Diaz was thrown out. A double play. The ball gets away, and no, it hit him. Umpire Dan Bellino said that ball hit him, so Diaz will go back to second. Granderson will go to first.
Oh, that's unfortunate for the Blue Jays. It looked like it was going to be another wild pitch by the Twins. And they were going to have a runner at third base with less than 2 outs. But Bellino was on it right away. Slider. Looked like it hit him right in the toe.
He was hit by a pitch in last night's game on the back toe. And now having another mound visit. Garvin Alston, the pitching coach, this time a very slow deliberate walk. The bullpen for Minnesota is working. Trevor Hildenberger, who had a good inning here in game 1. Actually 2 good innings. He didn't allow a base hit, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 2. That was on Monday night. And he got the top 6 hitters in the Blue Jays lineup in order. And that's where they are now. The number 2 batter is Teoscar Hernandez.
I think they know the importance of where they are in the game right here. They're holding on to a 2-0 lead, and big hitters of the Jays are coming up. This is the 3rd time through the lineup for Romero, the Blue Jays facing Romero. I think they're taking that into consideration.
First and second, 1 down. Hernandez got a piece of it, fouled it into the catcher's mitt. The hits are even at 4 apiece, but the Twins have 2 runs. Blue Jays are yet to score. A low strike. It's 0-2. Ground ball to third. Escobar to Dozier, back to first in time. So Romero gets out of it. Got a visit from the pitching coach. He has qualified for the win. 5 innings in the book, and Fernando Romero in his major league debut has 5 strikeouts and a 2-0 lead.
Russ back after missing yesterday. It's kept Martin fresh physically and at peace mentally too because of who his backup is. Martin says in years past, taking a night off made him feel like he was letting the team down. But Martin pointed out that Luke Maley knows the entire pitching staff really well and said Luke has been, quote, tremendous this year. Martin feels his at-bats and power have improved the day after sitting out a game, where he feels better because of who is behind him on the depth chart and because he's feeling fresh. Guys?
Well, that's a big deal because when you're a frontline catcher, you want to have confidence in the guy that's taking your spot. And Luke Maley last year didn't join the ball club until the season was underway. So he had to learn the pitching stuff on the fly. This year was a much different story. And he's done a terrific job catching. And then he's had the added benefit of getting off to a good start with the bat.
Yeah, he didn't do that last year. I think the knee problems that he had. Remember, he had to go on the DL for a while and missed some time. Done a great job this year.
Blue Jays had all sorts of problems in the catching department last year. They had 6 different catchers start for them. Martin caught 78 games. Maley only started 36 games. And they had Montero, Rafi Lopez, Jared Saltalamacchia, and Mike Oldman all making starts for the Blue Jays behind the plate. Jason Castro, the number 9 hitter, drew a walk his first time up. The walk was the 16th allowed by Marcus. He has 3 strikeouts this afternoon. That runs his strikeout total to 28. But he has been pretty good in his ability to pitch the ball where he wants to. He's made some good pitches with his slider and his fastball.
Slider's got some bite to it today. You mentioned the 3 strikeouts. One of them was taken by Kepler. Picked up a big strikeout against Dozier. This guy hitting right now strikes out a lot. Castro struck out 23 times in 56 at bats this year.
Bottom of the 5th inning. Minnesota scored a run in the 2nd and a run in the 3rd. That's been it. Max Kepler's RBI in the 3rd was a little roller up the first baseline with the bases loaded. Smoke could only step on the bag and record the out. Runner came in from 3rd to score, Gregorio Petit, who had hit a leadoff single. Moved around to 3rd.
He's also stranded 3 in 4 innings. He's had one of the lowest left on base percentages this season.
Sharply hit. Diaz has it kick off of his glove. That'll go into center field. Castro with a wide turn, but he has to hold it first. Sharply hit, but a playable ball. Diaz has committed 3 years so far this season.
Sharply hit, like you said. That exit velocity, 103 miles an hour.
It is indeed the 4th error committed by Diaz. Leadoff man reaches, turns the lineup over. Dozier with a mighty cut. Dozier struck out his last time up on a nasty slider. Ground ball. This should be 2. Solarte to Gurriel, back to Smoke. It is a double play. So that makes up for the error as the infield turns a 5-4-3 double play and gives Stroman a quick 2 outs.
Take it yourself. I tell you, all you have to do is catch the ball and get it to the second baseman. Gurriel's got one heck of an arm. Even if the ball's going to be close at first base, he can get it over there so quick. What an arm.
Yeah, he seems very competent at second base in his ability to hang tough and then make a good throw.
Makes it nice where you're not getting taken out at second base anymore.
Yeah.
You can just concentrate on catching it and throwing it. You don't have to worry about that runner anymore.
I have to worry about a guy using that rolling block or coming in hard with his spikes flying. 2 outs, Joe Mauer. Mauer singled with runners at first and second. That loaded the bases in the third. And that's when Kepler hit that little slow roller to the first baseman and knocked in the second run of the ball game. The thing that's impressive about Mauer as a hitter is he's always balanced. He's up there taking pitches, whether it's a strike or a ball. He seems to have the same approach every time. Very smooth. Gets that foot down. His head stays in a good position. Line drive. That's a base hit.
I asked him the other day, I said, you've been in the league now for 15 years. Has hitting changed or has pitching changed at all in those 15 years? And he said, definitely. He said, yeah, you got all those shifts and everything, but when I first came up, you faced the starter 3 times in a game and then maybe the closer. Now, I might face 3 or 4 different pitchers in one game. Still got that great on-base percentage, as you see, at .439. And he's right. With the bullpens the way they're stacked now, it becomes a lot harder to hit.
Well, it has become the norm that batters don't see that starter for a 3rd time. Take him out, then you'll see a specialist, you'll see a lefty specialist. If you're Joe Mauer, you get a lot of different looks in the course of a game.
Yeah, he was talking about that lefty specialist, and they usually have breaking balls. I'll see them maybe in the 7th inning. If I hit in the 8th inning, I'll see a setup man. In the 9th inning, it'll be the closer. So, I'm not going to hit in every one of those innings, but as the game goes along, I might face 3 or 4 different pitchers in a game, where before it was 1, maybe 2. That's a lot of homework you got to put together. Read a lot of scouting reports.
Kepler pulls it foul. Kepler is 0 for 2. He struck out and hit a ground out. Had an RBI ground out, as we mentioned, in the 3rd inning. Ball bounces off of Martin, and Bauer moves into scoring position. That ball hit about 3 feet in front of home plate. Russell got his body in front of it, but it bounced off him and went behind him.
And you don't know which way that ball's going to bounce, especially when it's a slider. You can see Russell wanted it down, but not that far down. Usually when you throw a slider and it hits the dirt, it's going to bounce the other way. Which it did. Russell just couldn't get any part of his body in front of him.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bauer running from second. Good breaking ball for the strikeout. Kepler strikes out. The Twins leave a runner in scoring position. We'll go to the 6th. Blue Jays still trailing 2-0. Smoke, Solarte, and Pilar. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. The late great Kirby Puckett pumping that fist. That was from a World Series home run he had hit, and he was a phenomenal player. To me, he really exemplified the Twins spirit. A lot of fire, a lot of intensity, played with a lot of joy.
Played hard every day, always had a smile on his face. Was that the home run you were just talking about that we saw that, and we'll see you tomorrow night?
Yeah,
that was
I think so.
From the 91 World Series.
Puckett led the American League in hits 4 times, won a batting title in '89. He was some player. 10-time All-Star. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Man, he could hit a ball hard.
6 Gold Gloves and 6 Silver Sluggers, the ALCS MVP. Smoke hits this ball off the end of the bat, shallow left field. Rosario is there. On our way.
Well, that's one thing the Minnesota Twins over the years have had. Great center fielders. Torrey Hunter comes to mind. Kirby Puckett comes to mind. Byron Buxton, who's there now. He's on the disabled list right now. Fantastic center fielders.
Very good players for a long time. Puckett played 12 years in the majors. Solarte takes the first pitch strike. I'm a little surprised Romero came back out for the 6th inning. He had a little bit of a jam in the 5th. Got a big double play off the bat of Teoscar Hernandez, and he's back out here for the 6th. Trevor Hilgenberger has been throwing. He is up again this inning. That's Eddie Guardado on the left of your screen. He is the bullpen coach here in Minnesota. He was a teammate of Kirby Puckett's for a long time. 0-2 to Solarte. Ground ball. Dozier, second baseman, has it.
The The Lawn and Garden event is on now until May 15th, only at Home Hardware and Building Center locations. Here's how.
Some fresh hot donuts on the concession list right there. That looks pretty good. I love this 12 o'clock start. It's a nice atmosphere. I think because it's so close to downtown, a lot of people have made their way here. A little lunch break, come on down, watch some ball games for a couple innings.
It's a beautiful day. I mean, an absolutely gorgeous day to play the game of baseball.
It's a beautiful day
See?
for baseball for sure.
Where do you think I got it? Read it right off the wall.
Kevin Pillar, he's 2 for 2 so far.
You know, Buck, I like that they sent Romero back out there. I mean, how are you going to learn to go through the lineups like this and push your way through? His pitch count's still in pretty good shape. But how are you going to learn if you throw 5 innings and then fly? 5 and fly. You can't do it. You might not have your best fastball this late in the game, but you can figure out ways to still get guys out.
I think that's a big problem when you have younger pitchers. They have a tendency to hit that ceiling because that's all they've done in the minors. But Molitor sent him back out for the 6th. He has 2 outs and just missed Kevin Pillar. Now it's 3 balls and a strike. I think if he walks him, they'll probably make a pitching change. Hilgenberger obviously has plenty of time to get ready. Pillar, here's the 3-1. Now it's a full count.
Nothing wrong with his fastball. That one was at 96 miles an hour. He still had good sink. I think even if he loses him, if I'm managing, I'm saying, I want you to walk off the field your first big league game.
Walk off with your team.
Mm-hmm.
Full count, 2 outs. Fernando Romero with a 2-0 lead. And he walks Pillar. So that'll bring the tying run to the plate, and here comes Paul Molitor. And Molitor has made the sign for the reliever. So Fernando Romero will get a nice round of applause here in his major league debut. He's going to leave with the lead. The 23-year-old has held the Blue Jays to just 4 hits. He's racked up 5 strikeouts. And he struck out the first big league batter he ever faced, Curtis Granderson. He gave up The first hit to Kevin Pillar. He leaves with the lead. Now he's turned things over to the bullpen. First up, Trevor Hildenberger.
Hildenberger has been in 12 games, doesn't have a record. ERA a little inflated for as good as this guy has been the last couple of seasons. Sinker, slider, changeup. He comes from sidewind, from the side, making it very tough for the right-handers to pick up his baseball. He's got some pretty good stuff.
Russell Martin faced him on Monday night and struck out to end the 7th. Martin struck out on a changeup. Hildenberger retired all 6 batters he faced. He struck out Granderson and Martin, 2 strikeouts in those 2 innings of work. Pillar's at first with 2 outs. He's probably not running here. He had a stolen base in last night's game in the 10th inning. He stole third base with 1 out.
Hildenberger's got that sinker slider combination, usually gets his share of ground ball outs. In fact, he led their team in ground balls last year.
Ripped right to the third baseman, and that's the way Wharton's series has gone. He's hit some balls very hard, but he's been robbed of base hits. Hildenberger gets out of the inning. Romero's in line for the win. Russell Martin smokes it, possibly a double, right into the glove of the third baseman. But third time through the order, it's been a rough stretch for him. First time opponents hitting 216 up to 317. Second time through the order. We're in the midst of the third time through the order for the season. They're batting 385. Top 3 already 1 for 3. Third time through the order against Marcus here this afternoon.
Yeah, you got 4, 5, 6 coming up. Some tough left-handers: Escobar, Rosario, and Grossman. So this is another big inning. This is an inning also where Marcus has to get through. The farthest he has gone this year is 5 1/3 innings. It would do wonders, I think, for him to get through this inning.
Now that ball is trouble into right field. Grossman's around first. He's headed for second. Ball stays up against the wall. It's a leadoff double for Eduardo Escobar. I said Grossman, it's Escobar. His 13th double of the season, and he now takes the lead in the American League.
Takes the lead from Kevin Pillar. When you miss your spots, this is what's happened. You can see Russell Martin. Russell wanted that ball down at the knees, and it looked like Marcus got underneath that ball and it leaped up. And Escobar is on second base.
Eddie Rosario, he hit a home run in the second inning, batting with Escobar at second base. That double for Escobar extended his hit streak to 9 straight games. That's his 7th double he's hit in those 9 games. 0-2. John Axford first up for the Blue Jays here this afternoon. We mentioned how well the pen has pitched for the Blue Jays as a unit. Their ERA is 2.07.
Lowest in the American League for bullpens.
Outside. The Twins so far this afternoon 1 for 5 batting with runners in scoring position. They've stranded 4 base runners to this point.
This year they're right at the bottom, or the near bottom, hitting with runners in scoring position. That's been a problem for them offensively. Right now Romero's trying to advance that runner to third base. Marcus is trying to strike him out.
Stroman has 4 strikeouts so far. Marcus has been very economical. He's thrown 79 pitches to this point. Pulled on the ground. That'll move the runner to third. Gurriel throws to Smoke. Rosario with a productive out.
Yeah, Rosario with 2 strikes still is able to get that bat head out in front, pull it to the right side, and that's going to pull the infield in now.
Here is Robbie Grossman, 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Grossman's the right fielder. Cutter right at the top of the zone for strike 1. Grossman very selective. He doesn't swing an awful lot. He's a lot like Joe Mauer in that regard.
He's had a good series against the Blue Jays. Hit the ball hard.
Grossman in his series has a double. Got a couple of hits, hit the ball hard all over the ballpark. Blue Jays need to save this run. They trail 2-0. Ground ball right to the shortstop. Escobar has to hold at third. 2 outs.
Canada's favorite car cheers for Canada's favorite team. Honda, proud fan since 1977, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Zach Duke, the lefty, loosening up. Trevor Hilgenberger walked Pilar, but then got Martin to line out to the third baseman. Logan Morrison, the first baseman, goes after the first pitch. Morrison had a base hit to right field his last time up. Stroman has stranded 4 this afternoon. He's got a big base runner at third base now. Up to leave him right where he's at. Two good pitches. Really tied up Morrison.
Yeah, down and in and under the bat. Trying to get through 6 innings for the first time this year. His breaking ball has been pretty good today.
Big strikeout for Stroman. He leaves the base runner stranded at third. We'll go to the 7th. This is when the Blue Jays have done most of their good work late in the game.
insurance run in the 10th, but how he found out he was playing in the shower pre-game, Kevin Pillar told him he was in for Steve Pearce, who was a late scratch. Then Morales came out and hit a pair of monster shots. The question was posed to Morales if a performance like that helps his psyche, and Kendry said his confidence has not wavered at all this season. You know, John Gibbons maintains Morales is too good a hitter for his struggles to continue. And by the way, guys, you saw Morales there, his first stolen base in 9 years. I asked Kendrys, with your speed, man, you ever run track? He said, I tried to as a kid, but I was too slow, so the coach cut me.
But he could really swing the bat, and he still can. You look at his career average, a 269 hitter. He's hit 193 home runs, and he'll face a new pitcher into the ball game, Zach Duke, the lefty.
Saw Duke in yesterday's game, an inning. Picked up his 5th hold in that game. He's done a nice job for the Twins. They signed him this spring. Be another lefty out in that bullpen. Veteran's been around a long time.
They had a 3-up, 3-down inning in the 7th. They got Diaz, Granderson, and Hernandez in order. See the defensive setup. Boy, Morrison's a long ways from first base, but then again, Morales is the runner. He'll have plenty of time to get back.
When you play off the line like that, your first reaction is to take a step to where the ball's hit. When you play that far off, you've got to make a step towards first base because you're halfway, and I mean literally halfway between first and second.
Off the end of the bat, down the right side, Robbie Grossman giving chase, and it'll be a foul ball. You run out of room quickly down there in foul territory. Those stands jet out very close to the foul line. Morales doesn't hit too many balls in that direction. Fernando Romero, the starter, in his major league debut, allowed 4 hits over 5 2/3, no runs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Trevor Hildenberger got 1 out. He had a walk and got Martin to end it. There's a base hit for Morales. Crosses up the shift, hits it straight away at second base.
And I don't think Zach Duke's real happy with the defensive alignment where he was throwing that pitch away. So another start, a good start for the Blue Jays here, and another bad start for the Twins. Over their last 12 games, the bullpen Blues have really shown up.
A 350 opponent's batting average, a 349 now with the base hit. Whip over 2, that means 2+ base runners per inning. And now Gurriel will step in with a man at first. He shoots one down the right side, but that slices foul.
Zach Duke is not going to overpower you. His fastball, curveball, changeup. He's got to hit his spots, keep it on the corners. I think he was upset that they pitched Morales away, but the defense played him to pull. And Morales, he's such a good hitter. He's not going to pull into a shift like that. You pitch him away, he's going to hit the ball the other way.
Inside off the plate. It's the 7th inning. And only the Mets have scored more runs from the 7th inning on than the Blue Jays. Blue Jays have scored 57 runs from the 7th inning on. Driven into center, but Kepler is there. Moves to his left, makes the catch. Gurriel's retired. .5% of the Blue Jays runs have come from the 7th inning on in ball games. They've had a knack for scoring late. They scored a run in the 8th last night and 3 in the 10th. And there you see in the American League, they are the leaders in the American League over the Athletics. The Astros, Yankees, and Twins have scored just 28 runs late in the game. 14.
They have to figure out a way to get to 5 runs because they're undefeated this year when they score 5 runs.
14 times they've scored 5 or more runs, and they're 14-0. Right now they need to get to 1 run. They have been shut out on just 5 hits. Lenmas Diaz has been on base twice, a walk and a double. He was the final out on a strike him out, throw him out back in the third when Teoscar Hernandez struck out.
He's seeing a lot of that, a lot of off-speed pitches lately. His double came on a first pitch fastball from Romero. Now Zach Duke, I'm sure, has been taking notes out in that bullpen. And he just keeps throwing it a little bit slower each pitch.
79. It doesn't sound like Steve Pearce is available today to pinch hit. He did not start. He was scratched from the original lineup last night with a tight rib cage.
That really hurts your bench. You got your backup catcher, Maley, and then Ngope. There's an even slower pitch. 75 miles an hour, slow ball. And Diaz way out in front. That's what you do. You get your scouting report. You know he loves that fastball, so you just keep throwing it slower and slower. Pretty good result.
2 outs now. Morales still at first base. Curtis Granderson 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch. He has struck out twice this afternoon. Granderson just 1 for 6 batting against left-handed pitching. That's why Pearce becomes so important, and Pearce has done a great job hitting lefties. Anderson chased that inside fastball. He can get up there to 89, and we have seen his breaking ball as slow as 75.
Yeah, that looked like a new wrinkle right there. A little sidearm sinker.
Checked his swing.
Curtis can do that because he doesn't have a lot of movement pre-swing. He's spread out, especially with 2 strikes. He'll choke up just a little bit, and he doesn't move until he sees the baseball. He does a pretty good job of checking his swing.
This is popped up, and it's going to end up in the seats. Duke strikes out Granderson, a couple of strikeouts. After the leadoff single, he retires the next 3 in order. Go to the bottom of the 7th. Minnesota still has a 2-0 lead.
that takes you behind the scenes with personal stories from the game. You can check out new episodes of Swinging a Belt with Dan Shulman, drops every Thursday during the baseball season, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Marcus Stroman back out to start the bottom of the 7th. First time Stroman has completed 6 innings this season. 2 runs on 6 hits, solo home run in the 2nd, and a ground out RBI in the 3rd. That's been it. So it's a step in the right direction for sure for Marcus, and he's back out here to pitch the 7th.
I think one of the best parts of the game for him was that 5th inning when Castro led off with an error. There was an error by the shortstop, and he picked his shortstop Diaz up by getting a ground ball double play right after that. You love to see that when your defense behind you kicks it around a little bit. No big problem. Let me take it myself. Unscored upon that inning.
Gregorio Petit, the shortstop. He's behind 0-2. Well, not only is it significant that Stroman is pitching into the 7th for the first time this year, but it's important because the Blue Jays have a doubleheader tomorrow. He scheduled a doubleheader in Cleveland, and you want to save as many of those bullpen arms as you can for the 2 games. Russell Martin short hopped, and he hung on to it for a moment as that foul tip bounced, and he was going to throw it around the infield quickly.
Trying to sell it to that home plate umpire Dan Bellino. He said, Saw it hit the ground. Now throw a better one.
Aaron Loop starts to loosen up for the Blue Jays. Looking to the Mauer, Kepler, Escobar stretch. Escobar switch hitter with Mauer and Kepler, 2 lefties. And you turn Escobar around to his less powerful side. Fly ball to right, not that deep. Hernandez is there. He makes the catch, 1 away.
They had just moved Hernandez with 2 strikes. They moved him about 4 or 5 steps towards the line with 2 strikes, knowing that Petit's going to hit a ball to right field, so that one right at him.
Jason Castro, the number 9 hitter, goes after the first pitch and lines it into center. There's Kevin Pillar. 2 away.
It's time to fire up your senses. Your best experience begins with Broil King, available at your local home hardware. Here's how.
We are in Minneapolis, Minnesota on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon. Blue Jays trail 2-0. Marcus Stroman trying to complete 7 innings here this afternoon. He's got 2 outs and the leadoff man. The Blue Jays have had just 4 starters complete 7 innings. 4 games where starters have gone 7. Jay Happ has done it twice. Marco Estrada went 7 and Aaron Sanchez went 8. That's been it.
Puts a lot of stress on that bullpen, but I'll tell you what, bullpen's been able to handle it. They've got the best winning percentage in the American League. They've got 7 wins out of the pen and the lowest earned run average.
They have pitched a lot of innings, but because everybody has pitched equally effective, it's spread the workload. But the starters, they will get into a good rhythm and a groove. Kevin Pillar, that ball sinking fast, and he makes another terrific catch. That ball was hit off the end of the bat. It was dying quickly. Pillar might have rolled his wrist as he made that catch. He quickly takes his glove off, but he was able to stay with it and make the catch. Paul Molitor has asked the umpires to hold the Blue Jays on the field as they're going to look at the video. But Pillar has taking his glove off, and I think he's a little concerned about his wrist or his thumb.
Yeah, slider to left field. The ball died on him. And he got that patented dive. Watch the glove tuck underneath him and bend that wrist.
Stroman threw 7 innings with the great catch by Kevin Pillar. We'll go to the 8th. Blue Jays dugout after making a terrific catch to take a hit away from Brian Dozier to end the bottom of the 7th. Teammates come over. Here's the catch. Watch his glove and how it gets twisted awkwardly under his body. And that looked like it put a lot of pressure on his left thumb. He holds on to the ball, and coaches come over. Trainer Nicky Huffman comes over to see what is going on, and Kevin doesn't look like he wants to talk too much about it. He has hurt that thumb in the past and played through it.
Let's hope he's okay. The way he's playing the game of baseball and swinging, you don't want that thing interrupted by any hand problems.
Okay, Oscar Hernandez rips a leadoff single off of the new pitcher, Addison Reed.
Addison Reed came into yesterday's ball game with a 1-run lead and promptly coughed it up. He gave up a leadoff walk to Smoke, then a double to Solarte, a sacrifice fly by Pillar tied it up. He was charged with a blown save. The veteran was signed in the offseason to get that bullpen sorted out for him. He's done it okay. Yesterday, the Blue Jays got to him.
Trying to do the same here this afternoon. Smoke was the first batter Reed faced in that outing yesterday. He walked to start the 8th inning, came around to score the tying run. The Blue Jays will then score 3 in the top of the 10th to win it 7-4. 2-0 Minnesota leads here in the 8th.
Problem he had in yesterday's game, he just couldn't get a slider over, especially to Smoke. He took 3 sliders off the plate and then threw him a 3-2 slider again and missed that time, and that just starts trouble when you get that leadoff man on via the walk.
Smoke strikes out, 1 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Jamie, it's the second time he's done that this season. He did it against the Angels in Anaheim earlier. What a terrific player he has become. 11 home runs now for Mookie Betts. He's also got 21 RBIs, and he missed a couple of days with a hamstring problem. And Ever Solarte is 0 for 3 so far. Now it's good to see Kevin Pillar out on deck. He's obviously shaken up after making that catch in center field in the bottom of the 7th. High hop up into shallow center field. Petit going out, the left fielder coming in. Rosario makes the catch, 2 away. Take another look at that great catch by Kevin Pillar to end the bottom of the 7th.
He never gives up on the baseball. He's very determined when he's in the outfield. Notice hits this ball into the gap. Looks like it's extra bases. He is all over it. You can see him cradle his arm just a little bit. Take the glove off right away. Anytime you see an outfielder dive like that and the glove gets caught and bent over, a number of things can happen. That's a good sign to see him picking up a baseball bat and he's ready to hit.
Kevin is 2 for 2 with a walk. He's extended his hit streak to 7 straight games. There goes Hernandez. Throw from Castro. They tagged him right in the head before he got to the base. That ends the inning. Pillar standing at home plate as Teoscar is caught stealing. Time now for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio. As to whether he would continue. Watch the tag by Dozier. Puts the tag right on his head. And he is out as he tags him before he gets to the base at second. That ended the inning. It took him a while to come to his senses as he never lost consciousness, obviously, but they came out and checked on him. He is in right field along with Kevin Pillar, who was at the plate when Hernandez was thrown out. Aaron Loop into the ball game to start the bottom of the 8th. Joe Mauer and Max Kepler, the first 2 batters, are both left-handed.
Those are the first 2 batters he faced here on Monday night. Made a great pitch to Mauer, and Mauer flipped the ball into left field. He would come around to score. So his final line that day, a third of an inning, a hit, a run, and an earned run. But overall, lately, he's been pitching really well. Says, I need to keep the ball down. Feel like I've got a better break on my breaking ball. And he has really done a good job lately coming out of the pen.
Indeed he has. He has really thrown the fastball very well. And what he's improved upon is handling left-handed hitters. He's had no problems with the righties. They've had trouble with his fastball and changeup combination.
Lefties at 333. And you can't fault him on the last time with Joe Mauer. I mean, he made a great pitch, slider down and away, and Mauer's such a great hitter. Plate coverage, just flipped the ball in the left field for a hit.
There's a strike. 1-1 to the leadoff man here in the 8th. That's the breaking ball you were talking about. It's a down and away. Rodney, the closer for Minnesota, loosening up.
What I like that I have seen from Aaron lately is where the pitches are. Look where all those strikes are, at the bottom of the strike zone.
And he gets Mauer with a good fastball away, down and away with the heater for strike 3. Marcus Stroman, for the first time this season, goes 7 innings. He was good this afternoon. 2 runs on 6 hits. He walked a batter and struck out 5. And for the first time this season, goes 7 innings. Just the 4th time a Blue Jay started. 5th time, excuse me, that he has gone 7 innings.
9 outs on the ground today. That's always a good sign. You know, he's keeping the ball down. His sinker is sinking. His slider had some good bite to it, and he had some staying power today. Able to get those 7 innings and stayed strong for those innings.
Max Kepler, the center fielder, hits this one, a little looper into shallow left field. That's going to drop in front of Granderson. So Loop gives up a little flare base hit to Kepler. It was Mauer who had a good at bat on Monday night. Now Kepler gets a base hit.
Boy, tough to shake those off, but that's what you got to do. Again, he makes another good pitch. They don't hit it very hard, but he hits it in the right spot.
Eduardo Escobar, the third baseman, the switch hitter, turned around and bat right-handed for the first time this afternoon. He doubled his last time up. That's the first pitch strike. Escobar, a .263 hitter, batting right-handed compared to .309 as a lefty. Swings and misses, strike 2.
That's where he's been tough against righties. He can dot that ball on the inside corner now if he wants to with his fastball. He can throw that changeup down and away. Love to get a ground ball. 2 for 1.
A ball and 2 strikes to the Twins' third baseman. Minnesota scored a run in the second and a run in the third, the only runs of the afternoon. They lead it 2-0. There's a little fly ball into center. That's going to drop in front of Pilar. Kepler stops at second. 2 on, 1 out. Drive of the game brought to you by the powerful 2018 Civic Type R.
Second inning, no score. And Rosario is going to come up and take this pitch the other way. He's 5 home runs now. That got the scoring started for Minnesota with this solo home run to left field. Kevin Pilar runs out of real estate in left field and circles the bases with the drive of the game. Rosario's got some quick hands, so you got to be careful with him on the inner half.
Second home run he's hit in the last 2 games. A home run off of Marco Estrada in the game last night. Kepler at second, Escobar at first. Line drive into center. That's going to get down in front of Pilar. He unloads in a hurry, and they stop Kepler at third. So 3 straight hits after the strikeout of Mauer. And the bases are loaded.
That one was squared up that time by Rosario. The other two were just bloops in front of the outfield. Oh, elevated just a little bit, caught too much of the plate. Rosario, he can hit lefties or righties, doesn't matter. Those quick hands, and because the ball was hit so hard, they've got to hold that runner up, Kepler. That'll bring Pete Walker out to talk to Aaron Loop. You've got a switch hitter in Grossman coming up, and then another lefty in Morrison behind him. So this is his inning right now.
Got off to a good start by striking out Mauer. Carlos Ramirez is loosening up for the Blue Jays.
He just got up. I mean, just got up. He's thrown maybe 2 pitches. Infield halfway in the middle. Corners, they're going to come home on any ground ball.
Strike one to Grossman. Grossman, a switch hitter. 375 with the bases loaded. Good block by Martin. He keeps it close enough to home plate that Kepler has to hold his ground.
Looked like that was a changeup into the dirt. And Russell blocks it with his glove. It might even hit his shin guard.
Ball and a strike to Grossman. Batting just over 200 on either side of the plate. The infield, as Pat mentioned, playing halfway up the middle. They're in at the grass on the corners.
Infielders are going to have to make a judgment, and a quick judgment off the bat. If it's hit sharply, they can go around the horn for 2. If it's not hit sharply, they've got to come home. At least get one out at the plate.
Fly ball. This is going to score 1 run for sure. Hernandez makes the catch. Kepler tags. He's coming in to score as Grossman drives it deep to right for the sacrifice fly. 3-0 Minnesota. Well, Grossman is 9th RBI of the season. On the play, Escobar tagged at second. He advances to third. Rosario still at first.
Blue Jays now have to play their defense. Russell Martin's going to come out and give a sign just in case Rosario takes off at first base, telling the infielders where he's going to throw the ball. I think that's a free base for the Twins if they want to try and steal it.
Rosario with a good lead. He's not running here. Morrison takes one down and away for ball 1. Morrison's 1 for 3 this afternoon. Morrison's 2 for 13 against left-handed pitching. May have broken his bat. Ball deep inside, and he has to get a new piece of wood. Luke came on to start the bottom of the 8th. He struck out Joe Mauer, and then 3 consecutive singles and a sac fly have plated a run for Minnesota in the 8th. It's 3-0 Twins. Breaking ball for strike 2.
If they do decide to try and steal a run here, if I'm Russell Martin, I'm faking a throw to second base and coming up throwing to third base. You're not going to get Rosario, but you might be able to get Escobar sneaking off a third.
There goes the runner. Outside, no throw. So the Blue Jays didn't vacate their defensive positions. Martin had no intention of throwing. Stolen base credited to Rosario, his third of the season. Two runners in scoring position. Morrison hangs in and fouls off that breaking ball. Looking ahead to the top of the ninth, Pilar, Martin, and Morales, the scheduled hitters. Pilar was at the plate when Teoscar Hernandez was thrown out trying to steal second in the 8th inning. Three and two. Matt McGill loosening up. Rodney has thrown already. It's a 3-run lead, a save situation for sure at this point.
I'm sure he says, hey, I'm good. If they score these runs, we'll probably see McGill. Got to make a pitch here.
Walked him. So Morrison takes ball 4. Bases will be loaded. And here comes DeMarlo Hale. He'll make a pitching change. There's the call to the bullpen. So Hale, the acting manager, John Gibbons, was thrown out of the game in the 3rd inning by the home plate umpire Dan Bellino. So we'll take a break. Carlos Ramirez will come into the ball game, taking over for Aaron Loup. Up a little bit. That's his 3rd multi-home run game. The previous 2, of course, coming as a Blue Jay. 3rd 3-home run game. Carlos Ramirez throws that first pitch outside. Ramirez making his first appearance since coming up from AAA Buffalo on the 29th of April.
He just came up, did a good job for him last September when he came up, made his major league debut. Spring training. Said his elbow wasn't feeling very good and he was getting under a lot of pitches, and then He says his elbow's fine now, so that I'm sure that fastball and slider is a lot better than what we saw in March.
2 outs, the bases loaded. Petit rips it into the seats foul. Encarnacion had a 3-homer game in Arizona in 2010, and then a 3-home run, 9 RBI game at Rogers Center against the Tigers on August 29th of 2015.
He had a series right here in this ballpark where he went crazy. I think he hit 5 in 3 days.
I think that was the final series of the season. Three balls and his strike. Breaking ball cut on and missed. Ramirez, we have seen that. We saw it last year. He has the confidence to throw that breaking ball any time in the count. Bases are loaded. Escobar at third, Rosario at second, and Morrison at first. 3-2, 2 outs. They'll be moving on the pitch. There they go. Breaking ball. He walked. So Ramirez comes in and walks in a run. Petit will get his first RBI of the season as Escobar comes in to score the 4th Twins run, 2nd of the inning. Three hits, now 2 walks in the inning, and the bases remain loaded. Jason Castro takes ball 1 up and away.
He is known as a strike thrower. Surprised that he fell behind 3-1 to Petit, and had to try and throw a couple of sliders, missed both of those. Now he's fallen behind the number 9 hitter.
They call by Dan Bellino, the home plate umpire, calling a strike to the Twins catcher.
Done a good job. Remember, he was a everyday player in the minor leagues for the Blue Jays. Switched over to pitching, and here he is in the big leagues.
Foul back.
Wow, watch out, Brian Dozier.
Well, that bat came out of his hand and whipped right past the on-deck hitter, Brian Dozier. So Castro with a new bat will step in against Carlos Ramirez. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Trying to close out the Twins here in the 8th. They've scored 2 here this inning. Breaking ball pulled foul. Again, Marcus Stroman with a good outing. He goes 7 innings, allows 2 runs on 6 hits. Stroman threw 99 pitches. He walked just 1 and struck out 5. Strike 3 call. Castro arguing it was off the plate outside. The Twins will leave the bases loaded. They score 2 in their half of the 8th. Will go to the 9th. The Blue Jays are trailing by 4.
You can count on us to get home safe. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
We've made it to the 9th inning here in the Twin Cities. Minnesota has a 4-0 lead over the Blue Jays. And they will bring their closer into the game. It is not a save situation, but the Twins have been desperate for a win.
Oh, Molitor deked us a little bit with Rodney. He was up throwing in the save situation. They took the lead and went up by 4. Non-save situation. They got somebody else thrown, but Rodney says, hey, I'm good. I don't want to waste my bullets down in that bullpen. So he's ready. Fastball changeup. He pitched in yesterday's ball game. An inning, gave up a hit, a walk, and a strikeout.
Brian Lamar is into the game defensively in center field. The starting center fielder, Max Kepler, moves from center to right. Robbie Grossman is out of the ball game. So Kevin Pillar will bat, leading off the 9th. Pillar was at the plate when Teoscar Hernandez was thrown out trying to steal second. Kevin is 2 for 2 with a walk. He's extended his streak to 7 straight games, taking all the way.
Yeah, down by 4 runs, you need some base runners. Rodney at times can get a little wild.
Pillar goes after that changeup quickly. 0-2. Rodney pitched in last night's game, pitched the 9th inning. Gave up a single and a walk, but no runs.
Still has that big arm. Upper 90s with his fastball. Then you got to tone it down just a little bit because he's got a great changeup.
There's a good fastball, but it's away for ball 2.
He has had 2 seasons, Fernando Rodney, where he has saved 48 games. 2 of them, not 1, 2. Just keeps rolling right along.
He strikes out Pillar. Good fastball there. 1 away in the 9th.
On top of throwing hard, this is good command. Not much you can do with that pitch. Away, even though it was belt high, had a little mustard on it.
Russell Martin 0 for 2 with a walk. The Blue Jays have just 6 hits. Jays scored 7 runs in each of the first 2 games of this series. They've been shut out. Blue Jays have not been shut out this season. They haven't been shut out since September 29th last year at New York by the Yankees. The Blue Jays had scored 7 runs in their last 3 games, winning all 3 of those.
Twins haven't done them any favors today. I mean, they sloppy defense the first couple of games. They've also had 13 walks coming into today's game. Twins pitchers. That's a lot of base runners. Today they've cleaned it up. Romero had 3 walks. Bullpen hasn't walked anybody this afternoon.
The rookie Fernando Romero in line for his win in his major league debut. Look at that play. Russell Martin can't buy a break. Rodney just slapped at that ball. It was behind him. He caught it and makes an easy play of it. Russell Martin's been robbed of a couple of hits today.
Yeah, all you can say is just keep swinging it, Russell. This ball looks like it's heading towards center field. He throws his glove out there and somehow it finds its way into the webbing. Frustrating. Yeah. Just keep swinging. They will fall.
Yeah, that's the last thing Martin wants to hear right now. Hey, you hit it good. 2 outs. Kendrys Morales takes one away for ball 1. Blue Jays will win the series 2-1 if they don't mount a 2-out rally here in the 9th. The Jays are 8-5 on the road to this point. 17-12 for the season. Boston beat Kansas City 5-4 this afternoon. Cleveland put one on the Texas Rangers 12-4. Edwin Encarnacion with 3 home runs, 6 RBIs. He's still hitting .191.
Wow. Mookie Betts with a 3-homer game. A.J. Pollock just had a 3-homer game a couple of nights ago.
Is it that easy?
No, it's not that easy. They're making it look easy. Those things used to be rare. We've had 3 of them in the last 3 days.
That's a fair ball. Goes all the way to first base, and that ends the ball game. So the Twins have shut out the Blue Jays. First time the Blue Jays have been shut out this season. And how about the rookie making his major league debut? Fernando Romero goes 5 2/3, holds the Blue Jays to no runs on 4 hits and strikes out 5.
Yeah, he was out there early. In fact, before the umpires came out, he was out there warming up, getting ready for the ball game. He was excited. He was an excitable player. Showed some electric stuff today. The Twins came up with some clutch hits, had a couple of hits with runners in scoring position, and take this game, the last game. Blue Jays got to say, okay, we won the series. Let's go on to Cleveland, see if we can sweep the doubleheader tomorrow.
Doubleheader tomorrow afternoon. Thanks for watching, folks. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon from Cleveland. Stay tuned. Here's Blue Jays Central with Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle.